Of all the creatures of the sea, the shark is one of the most familiar, yet one of the most mysterious. To get facts on sharks, biologists at Marineland of the Pacific asked me to make a documentary film on these creatures in action and to test various chemical shark repellents. I chose a shark-infested area of the Caribbean for our work. I hired 2 first-class underwater cameramen, chartered a well-equipped boat, and had a special cage built for us of steel bars. From it, we could photograph and study sharks with little danger. The captain was a diver himself and knew the Caribbean well. The weather was ideal, but there was one big problem, and I couldn't do a thing about that. Her name was Lucille, and she was, well, let's say that she was a little absent-minded. She kept forgetting that she was the captain's wife.
If you like working with those New York models so much, why are you out here photographing fish?
Well, I wanted to cool off my camera.
Oh, Ralph, you're cute.
You noticed that too, huh?
You know, I always wanted to be a model. Do you think that I could... Oh!
Are you having fun, Kootenai?
Oh, now, look,
you
Red,
keep
what?
out of this.
Look, she was just losing her balance. I was only trying to help her.
Yes, I saw that. Now you keep your hands off my wife.
Easy, Dad. I was only trying
And don't you call me Dad.
Why not, Dad?
Cutler, get your diving gear on. We're going down.
Oh, look, she was just losing her balance, and I tried to help her. This hothead comes in and starts popping off
It's his boat. Go on.
Mr. Marshall said to tell you we can lower the camera cage anytime you're ready.
Okay, Doggett. I'll get the shark repellent, huh?
Oh, my. Could I see you for a minute?
Oh, I'm sorry. They're waiting for me. We're going down the cage now.
You're always so busy. I heard you talking to Delmar about that book on underwater photography, the one you took the pictures for.
Yeah?
But it sounds fascinating. Could I see it?
Sure, I'll get it for you. I'll be right out, Mrs. Marshall.
It's Lucille, remember?
Here we go again. I'm glad it's not me this time.
Now, Marshall should have left her at home. He wouldn't be worrying about her every minute.
Wouldn't he?
There you are.
Oh, thank you. My? You know, it sounds strange, but with all the diving that Brent's done, I've never been the slightest bit interested. Until this trip. Oh, look, here's your name.
Yeah, those are some pictures I took from Marineland last year.
Oh, they look thrilling. I wish you could tell me how you took every single one.
Yeah, later. I got work to do now. Hey, I got the repellent. Be sure you wait now until Delma takes some footage of the sharks attacking the bait, huh? I'll give you the signal. All I have to do is slash that bag and shake the cupric acetate out towards the sharks, huh?
Gotcha.
Hey, give me a hand on my tank there, boy.
Yeah.
Kind of close quarters here.
Closer down below.
Marshal!
Yeah?
Okay. Lower the cage to 40 feet.
Over the side. Joe!
The scientists had insisted that we work with a cage, and they were right. Sharks are always dangerous. But my own experience had been that they won't attack a diver with an air lung unless he molests them or unless they're in a feeding frenzy. Before this trip was over, I was reminded that a man can be a dangerous creature too, and sometimes more treacherous than a shark. We stopped at 40 feet, about halfway to the bottom. We didn't have to wait long. Even before we put out our bait, sharks began to converge in the cage. They circled us warily. As I expected, they were very cautious. Delmar signaled that the camera wasn't working. Underwater, it was hard to tell what was wrong with the camera, so I figured that we might as well surface. I released a signal buoy.
Nelson ought to finish up around here about noon. Then we can head east for the deep water stuff.
That'll put us ahead of schedule.
The quicker we finish this job, the better I'll like it.
Hey, trouble.
Haul him up.
Delmar and Kuttner checked the camera and found it could be repaired. But it would take time, and with the tension growing on the boat, I didn't think it was wise to fall behind schedule.
It's going to take him 2 hours to fix the camera. Hey, how far is it to that deep water trench?
About a 3-hour run.
Oh, brother. Maybe we can take all the tests in that deep water. Let's get underway.
Okay.
My, this book you gave me is just fascinating.
Well, I'm glad you like it.
Red never told me how beautiful it was down there.
Oh, it isn't always. I mean, not everywhere. It's just like on land.
You know, I never had one of these on. Oh, Mike, you've got to teach me how to skin dive.
Your husband's an expert. He's the man to teach you how to do that.
Oh, with Brent, everything is business. If you taught me, it would be so much fun. And I learn very quickly.
Yeah, well, we'll be shooting in shallow water in a few days. Maybe then, huh?
Well, if I try on the equipment now, I'll be ready when we get to shallow water. My goodness, this is heavy.
No, you need help to put it on.
Yes, I do.
No, it's not right. Like this. Put your arm.
Yes.
There.
It really is heavy.
Lucille, what do you think you're doing? Let that thing off your back.
Wait a minute.
You, get back in the cabin.
Pretty rough treatment for my tank, don't you think?
Look, Nelson, if my wife wants to learn anything, I'll teach her, huh?
Oh, you had no reason to blow upstream then.
Huh?
No.
You keep away from my wife, do you understand?
Are you serious?
I'll show you how serious I am.
You're making a fool of yourself, Marshal.
mean Mike Nelson.
Oh, Mike Nelson doesn't mean a thing to me.
All right. All right, then it's Cutner. Cutner or that other cameraman. Every time I look up, there's some guy hanging around you, and you let him. Yeah, I know. I know what this is going to be. Exactly like it was last year in San Juan. All over again, isn't it? Isn't it? Frederick, leave me alone. Oh, Lucille. Lucille, why do you do this to me?
I'm gonna leave you, Brent.
It's Mike Nelson's book. Where did you get that?
He gave it to me. Did you hear what I said? I'm gonna leave you. I'm sick of you and your snooping and hanging around the stinking boat. And when we get back to port, I'm gonna leave you for good. I bet you wish you could do that to Mike Nelson.
I'll take care of Mike Nelson.
We anchored in deep water and went down again for tests and pictures. Marshall seemed to have calmed down. I told Marshall to lower us 60 feet and then haul us up in exactly half an hour. Below us was an uneven bottom, in the deep places nearly a half a mile down.
That's 60 feet, Mr. Marshall.
Okay.
Well, nothing to do now for 30 minutes.
No. I think I'll take a look in on my wife. She's got a headache.
Okay, Mr. Marshall.
I won't be gone long, but you stick close to that winch and keep your eye on the water. Signal float bobs up, you know what to do.
Sure. Haul him up.
Down in the cage, we didn't know that Marshall had left the deck for a dive. Even if we had, we wouldn't have thought about it. We were too absorbed in our work. For a while, the water seemed deserted. Then I saw a flash in the distance. Shark. I alerted Delmar. I thought that we'd get some good shots this time, but we had another problem. Delmar had left his light meter topside. The quickest solution was for one of us to surface and get the meter. Since I had had a little more experience with sharks than the others, I went myself. As I started up, I was surprised to see Marshall, but I figured that he was checking the line. When I saw the knife in his hand and realized what he was doing, a sudden chill ran through me. He was cutting the line. If that cage dropped, it could fall a half a mile. The pressure would kill Delmar and Cutner in a few seconds. I had to stop Marshall. But I was too late. The weakened line snapped, and the cage plummeted down. Marshall, crazy with jealousy, had cut the line to our cage. By a stroke of luck, it came to rest on a shelf about 150 feet down, instead of plunging to the bottom of the trench, a half a mile below. Delmar and Cutner didn't seem to be injured, but the doors were sprung and they couldn't get out. And they couldn't last long under that pressure, even if they had enough air. We had to lift that cage, or get them out of it, and soon. Every minute counted, and there weren't many left.
How's
How's your headache, Mrs. Marshall?
A headache? I'd sure have one if I stayed below any longer. Where's Brent?
I think he's in the cabin. I'll take a look for you.
Thank you.
The line's broke. Get the skipper quick. That cage could drop down 1,000 feet.
There's one of them.
I came up as fast as I could. When I reached the surface, I found Marshall floundering there, still dazed and winded from our struggle.
All hands in!
How about the others?
They're trapped in a cage in the bottom.
They're dead ducks.
Maybe not. Maybe not. They're on a shelf. 150 feet down.
150? Could have been 2,000.
The whole cage is sprung. They can't get out. You gotta rig up another block and fall.
I haven't got enough heavy line to reach that deep. The weight would snap it right off.
Well, what was he doing down there?
Get out of the way and keep quiet. Now listen, Marshal. Delmer and Cutner are in that cage 150 feet down.
They're still alive?
Yeah. But they won't be for long if we don't find a way to get that cage up.
Yeah, but 150 feet.
I know. But you put them there, and you better find a way to get them up.
What do you mean?
He cut the line.
How could you do a thing like that?
Marshal, they got less than a half an hour of air left. Now, what are you going to do?
I'll see if I can contact a ship with enough line to lift that cage.
Doggin, make a rig out of what you got.
In the meantime, sharks kept circling the cage menacingly. For Delmar and Cutner, the shark cage had become an underwater prison.
It's a freighter on its way, but it won't be here for 2 hours.
You got an underwater cutting torch aboard.
Yeah, but we haven't got any acetylene tanks. Got a hacksaw, that'll cut through those bars.
You ought to be good at that sort of thing.
On account of you, I tried to kill 3 men. Dorgan, get me a couple of hacksaws. I'm going down with Nelson.
Hold it, Doggin. What's the deepest you ever dove?
90 feet, but I can make 150.
Maybe. But working in that depth is something else. We couldn't last long enough under that pressure to cut through the bars.
Well, we've got to try it. It's the only thing we've got.
Yeah, we'll never be able to pick it up with that light line I rigged.
If we can. Get all the life preservers, life rafts, everything that we got aboard that floats, and we'll wrap them in a cargo net and sink them with weights down to the cage.
Say, that might work. We just might get enough buoyancy.
Yeah, we might. Come on. Let's get to work.
Dorgan put together the strongest long line that he could with what he had, but I knew it wouldn't be strong enough by itself. Even in water, 3,000 pounds of steel needs a lot of lifting, and the improvised line couldn't lift more than about 1,500. Our only hope was to buoy up the cage enough to make it lighter. We swam down with nets full of all kinds of things that float. Trying to work fast at that depth was the hardest physical labor that I've ever done. Every move was agony. We were counting most of all on the inflatable life rafts. Our last hope. It seemed a slim chance, but when lives are at stake, you try anything. It worked so well, the cage was rising too fast. There wouldn't be enough time to decompress coming up, and too rapid an ascent would be fatal. But Marshall and I added our weight, and it slowed down. I was wondering if our air would last long enough to get us all to the top when I saw Delmar signaling in panic and Marshall going to his side. Delmar was out of air. Then I thought the pressure must be getting me because I saw Marshall take off his diving lung and give it to Delmar. When he was sure that Delmar was breathing normally, Marshall took one last breath himself and started up. He tried desperately to make a free ascent, but I knew that it was hopeless. He must have known, too. It was too far to go on one breath, and he had been down too long. As he shot up, the air in his lungs expanded and burst them. Seconds, it was all over for him.
Okay.
We made Delmar and Kuttner as comfortable as possible and headed for port. And Lucille bore up well under her grief.
Just can't figure out why Brent would do a crazy thing like that.
Well, maybe he figured he had a good reason.
Here he was practically safe, and he goes and gives his air bottle to Delmar. Just don't understand it.
You never will. Hello there. I'm Lloyd Bridges. Skin diving is fun and adventure for young and old, but it can be dangerous. So know the sport well and don't take any chances. Be with you next week for another exciting sea hunt.